Well, good Thursday evening, everyone. Todd Warren here on Facebook Live tonight, as well as on the KTAL Now app. This is Weather Worries, a quick update on what's ahead of us in terms of any weather concerns that we may have across the area. You can see today, no concerns at all. It was nice and warm. Temperatures climbed into the low to middle 80s. You can see the pretty sunsets that we experienced across the region with the higher clouds that once again were over us at sunset. Bit of a haze in Shreveport, as you can see there, and a pretty sunset in Marshall. Here's what's coming up tonight as we are looking at, again, a cooling trend, which will begin tomorrow, as we are looking at temperatures more than 10 degrees cooler tomorrow compared to what we experienced today. Rain is going to stay very limited, not only with this disturbance coming in the front, behind the front, but nonetheless, this weekend, all of next week, still looking dry. I will show you when we could see our next hope, however. Again, the cooling trend begins. Freezing temperatures will be quite possible for some early next week. I'll show you the latest numbers for Monday and Tuesday mornings. And in case you missed it last night, the average date of the last freeze during the past 30 years. I'm going to review that again. As I mentioned, we're going to stay dry next week. And tonight is grain of salt night, where we take a look at the latest 6-week outlook from the EPS weeklies and talk about where we could see above normal temperatures, below normal temperatures. Will we break the streak of below normal rainfall? I'll have those answers. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to ask away. If you just want to say hello, Todd, that's great too, as it is tradition to begin things with our hellos. So let's see who's tuning in tonight. As is tradition, Brian is first on board. Hello there, Brian. Chris, hello to you. Brad in WCOK, hello to you. Kristen, good evening to you. Lewis, we will see. Do I think I'm going to show you the drought monitor, Lewis, and there really wasn't a whole lot of change. I mentioned last night, you might have asked me last night, I mentioned last night that I didn't think we would see a whole lot, but we did see a little bit of change over a small part of the area, and I'll show you compare last week's to this week's when we get to grain of salt time tonight. Mary, hello, and you're welcome, and thank you for watching. All right, let's take a review and look at, first of all, my level of concern. It's been 2 for the last pretty much all week, and it looks like it's going to stay there as we really don't have any rain to worry about. The only issue may be the possibility for the freeze early next week, but other than that, no severe weather worries to worry about here from now through next week. Temperatures today, we did make it to 82 degrees for the daytime high in Shreveport. 85 degrees was the high in Texarkana, and 84 in Marshall. That 85 in Texarkana broke a record of 82 that was set back in 1986. So again, very warm day across the region with the afternoon sunshine. It was rather breezy. I think I did see a peak wind gust earlier when I looked at this graphic of 26 miles per hour in Shreveport. Texarkana had actually, DeQueen and Idabel had the strongest winds today. Peak gusts at 31 miles per hour. Probably not quite as windy tomorrow. We will see a bit of an uptick in that wind once again as we look ahead to basically Saturday. Now, here is a look at the weather pattern here, and what's going to take shape is we have a disturbance here, another disturbance here. We're going to see all of this move to the east, and eventually we're going to see a big trough develop here over the eastern sections of the country, and that's what's going to bring down the colder air for the beginning of next week. But fortunately, it's not really going to last very long. As we look at the weather map here, this is the surface pattern, and you can see the area of low pressure up north of St. Louis, another one over towards Salt Lake City. That one to the west of us is the one we'll have to watch. This frontal boundary did make its way through the area here today. We will see the wind shift back around to the south as it washes out here heading into basically tomorrow, and that's going to allow the clouds to increase and also give us a very small chance for some rain. Notice that double-barreled area of low pressure in the northeast producing quite a bit of snow. That second front moves through, and that's going to be the one that will start to usher in the colder air. Now, as far as Saturday is concerned, the clouds Friday night will keep temperatures up. will probably start Saturday in the 50s. And with the afternoon sunshine, we probably will see highs warm up into the 60s and low 70s Saturday. And then the bottom will drop out, so to speak, on those temperatures. And you can see high pressure building into the plains. That's the source of the cold. Notice we're to the right. If you draw an axis right through the middle of the high, we're on the right side of its circulation. So that means that we will be looking at a north wind heading into Sunday and probably even into Monday. Notice lots of sunshine here for Sunday, very quiet with that area of high pressure. Also notice Monday morning, it's almost right over the top of us. So with the clear sky, dry air, no wind with that high over us, that's going to mean Monday is going to be rather cold. We'll see the high continue to move south, and it won't be until basically Tuesday afternoon before we get on the warm side of its circulation, and the warming trend will quickly settle in. Let's see who else has chimed in here. Good evening, Carol. No snow. I'm not even going to show the snow possibilities. I did look at those numbers for DeQueen, Carol, and the chances of getting 2 inches there are 0. So that tells me that they're probably 0 everywhere. So I think that window is shut as far as any winter precipitation, any more winter precipitation this winter. Eric says it's now 64 degrees in Colbert, Oklahoma, near Lake Texoma, and said it was a nice day in his neck of the woods. All right, here's a look at the weather map, and you can see this boundary here to the south of Shreveport. Actually, let me redraw that now that I see the wind shift line a little bit clearer. This is where that front is, or at least Futurecast thinks it will be, heading into 10 p.m. Notice the clouds over the southern sections of the Arklatex. Put this into motion, you can see those clouds will begin to spread back to the north late tonight. Might see a chance for a little bit of rain over the southern sections of the area late tonight, going through tomorrow. Notice how light the green is. That tells you that if you get some rain, it's not going to be much, as we'll see that chance of rain try to spread to the north during the day tomorrow, and then we'll see it gradually taper off and come to an end tomorrow night and Saturday. Saturday morning, maybe a little bit of a chance of rain lingering down towards Natchitoches, but we will see any clouds Saturday morning quickly move out, and you can see that northwesterly wind starting to get its act together here as we head into Saturday evening, and that's when the cooler temperatures will begin to filter in. Rusty, good evening to you, and Betty, hello to you up there in Union County. All right, let's move on and talk Sunday, and you can see the wind dying down Saturday night. We'll probably dip into the 30s, pretty much area-wide Saturday night, and then heading into Sunday, lots of sunshine. Temperatures Sunday will be a bit cooler than what's the low 70s for Saturday. And you can see Sunday night, we're going to be clear. Notice hardly any arrows. That's with that bridge close by. We'll be in the low to middle 30s over most of the area Monday, and then Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon. We're probably going to stay in the 50s for daytime highs over most of the area on Monday. So that's what it looks like for the next 3 or 4 days. And let's take a look at grain of salt time as we move further here. And you're going to see how this will play out. And we're getting to the time of year where these blues and purples on this graphic will start going away, and we'll start to see more oranges and reds as the upper levels of the atmosphere get a bit warmer. But you can see the disturbances that I pointed out earlier and how they will move eastward, and big upper level low develops over the eastern seaboard right here. And this northwesterly flow is going to bring in the chilly air here, and also it's going to keep us dry. And as I put this through the next rest of the 10-day period, notice that we will continue with a northwesterly flow through the end of the week and probably through the weekend. Now, I want to point out Thursday, some models indicating this disturbance right here may squeeze out some rain for us. The majority do not. So as of right now, just keeping an eye on Thursday. I do not have any rain in the forecast for next Thursday. And you can see as we head into next weekend, still that west to northwesterly flow with the troughiness here over the eastern half of North America. So If Gary tunes in, he's going to be drying out after getting a little bit of rain here recently. Randall, hello there in Benton, Louisiana. Welcome aboard, man. I appreciate you watching. All right, let's move ahead with a look at, first of all, the temperatures that I mentioned. Here are the specifics for the low temperatures on Monday. You can see Shreveport 35, 32. Parts of the area, Monday morning could be the coldest morning. You can see 26 maybe in DeQueen, 29 in Magnolia. And heading into Tuesday, you can see 34 in Shreveport. Same thing in Texarkana. And again, several locations near or below freezing, both Monday morning and Tuesday morning. So those will be the coldest mornings. And I showed this graphic last night, but for those who maybe weren't tuning in, this is the average date of the last freeze over the course of the last 30 years. Now, obviously, climatologically speaking, you could average out in Shreveport all the way back to 1874, I think, and it's a little bit later. But recently, our last freezes have been happening a bit sooner. So you take the average of the last 30 years. DeQueen, March 28th, Texarkana, March 11th, Marshall, March 12th, Shreveport, March 1st, and Natchitoches, February 21st. So 2 days from now is the average day of the last freeze in Natchitoches. So we're getting close to those numbers. Now, keep in mind, we very well could see freezing temperatures again. This is just an average. If we do not see any more freezing temperatures in Shreveport, which is very possible if we don't do it Sunday or Monday nights, this would be the second earliest date for the last freeze in Shreveport. I believe in 2017 it was in January. Obviously this year it occurred in February, but still, that's what is quite possible that we are nearing the end of having to worry about the freezing cold. All right, let's switch over to rain, and then at the end of this, we'll get into the deeper, really grain of salt time. Here's the 7-day outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, and you can see it shows that dark area of blue, that's less than 1/10 of an inch. It says 100th, but it's less than 1/10 of an inch, basically 100th to 1/10. The grays is where they think we're not going to get any rain at all. And so rain is going to be very limited here with this first disturbance coming in. This takes us through next Thursday. Here's the blend of models, which goes out 10 days, and it is showing the same thing. So that tells you that if you get missed tomorrow, you're out of luck for seeing any rain here, probably through next weekend, the way it looks right now. And let's take you out 2 weeks, or actually before we do that, let's take a look at the various models. Here's some hope. The individual models do have a little bit, a 1/10 to a quarter, but for the most part, even if we were to get that, we would evaporate that in a day. It wouldn't make any difference, actually less than a day, so it wouldn't make any difference. So point is, typically in a 10-day period this time of year, we get 1 2/3 to 1 3/4 every 10 days, and we're going to be far below that here. And keep that in mind when we talk about the drought monitor. Take you out 2 weeks. Here's some hope. Both the European and the GFS in the morning runs, or at least the ones I looked at this morning, did show something 2 weeks from now coming in as far as a chance for some rain. You can see the GFS not very bullish on it, but still a 1/2 inch is better than 1/10. We'll take what we can get at this point. So looks like we're going to close February on a dry note and begin March on a dry note here across the Arklatex. Aaron there in WCOK, hello to you. And Gary, in case I didn't say hello to you as well. All right, let's talk temperatures here for the next 2 weeks. And you can see the cool down, which will take place here after the 69, 70, 71 on Saturday. We will plummet into the 30s for lows. European is very bullish on the chill, keeping Monday in the mid-50s. But notice, quick warm-up, close to 80 by next Wednesday, 34 Tuesday morning, 78 Wednesday afternoon. Yes, it can happen. But nonetheless, notice as after we warm back up, we will stay warm. The European very persistently showing temperatures at the last few days of February and first few days of March, pretty much staying in the low to middle 70s. So that's one set of ensembles. Let's compare that to the GFS ensembles. Not as cold here with the cold snap coming. And during the day and at night, notice the GFS ensembles have 70 for Saturday. Notice we warm up a little bit of a cool down for next Sunday, so we'll see if that plays out. But for the most part, most of the days of the next 2 weeks will feature above normal temperatures. All right, so that's what it looks like as we leave February and head into March. So let's get into the long range aspect of things. And before we do that, and I will follow the drought monitor with the rainfall outlook for the next 6 weeks. And you can see the areas to watch are this area here south of Texarkana and the area south of Natchitoches. You're not going to see a whole lot of change. So this is last week, and here's this week. So you see how that level 2 drought kind of filled in here. That's really the only changes that we've seen. Now keep in mind we did get a decent amount of rain with the thunderstorms this past Saturday, so that actually prevented us from getting worse. And with the lack of rain, we probably will see the orange area grow next week. And we might even see the red area grow here over the northern parts of the area. All right, let's move on. Oh, Brad says he's ready for the cold snap. All right, Brad, that's good. That's good. But, nothing that a couple of blankets can't fix, if in case it didn't show up. All right. But anyway, let's take a look at the outlook. This latest 45-day outlook from the EPS weeklies goes out through March into the first week of April. This ends April 5th. So if you add up all the rain that could fall from now through April 5th, these are the numbers that it's kicking out. Total rainfall here during this, 6 week period of time. And you can see the all locations are below normal, almost 7.5 inches. Again, we're getting into the wettest part of the year now, so we should be getting more. And it looks like most of the Archeltex about 5.5 to 6.5 inches, a good 1 to 2 inches below normal. Now, I'm hoping we get this much. It looks like we're going to get off to a dry start in this 6 week period, so we'll see how it plays out. Now, keep in mind, you might recall, I think it was Monday, I compared this drought to 2011. Back then, the drought, which had been going on for a year, continued through the summer. And during those months leading up to summer, we were getting about half of our normal rainfall. So fortunately, these numbers are better than half. So that's a good sign. Let's see if it actually plays out this way. So that's what it looks like as far as rain. And again, as far as snow, it looks extremely doubtful. Now, there were a couple of the ensemble members which did show a chance, a little bit of snow in DeQueen, but less than half. So it's not going to snow anymore. All right, let's talk temperatures, and we'll begin with Shreveport, the average lows and average highs. And again, just to explain this graphic, the line in the middle, that is the normal temperature. All right, I have proportioned these bars for each one, for each week. The more above normal or below normal it is, the higher or lower it will be. So you can see we will be more above normal the first couple of weeks on average in Shreveport than we will at the end. Now, as I always say, these ensembles, as you go farther out, they tend to run back to normal. I think it's been the last 4 or 5 weeks. The last week has been normal. So that's nothing out of the ordinary. But you can see the first week in Shreveport, the average low, again, you take all 7 lows and average them 48. And you can see rest of the lows for the rest of March and the first week of April will be in the low 50s. Doesn't sound too bad. Do you think we're going to have any more freezes after seeing this? Probably not, if we don't see any freezes early next week. Average highs, doesn't this look nice in Shreveport? The first week we're the most above normal, but normal is lower, 70, and it looks like low to middle 70s on average, the average highs each week through March into that first week of April. Now in Texarkana, the average high and lows aren't as high, so even though you'll be higher above normal, you can see upper 40s for most of March for average lows, and eventually you'll hit 50. But it looks like relative to normal, we'll be warmer at the beginning of March than at the end of March. We'll see how that changes as we get closer to the beginning of April each and every week. But again, notice how as we go out, the difference in normal, as far as the difference away from normal, is not as much. So that is what typically happens. And you can see how the average highs could play out there in Texarkana. First couple of weeks, upper 60s, which is pretty nice. And you can see, and again, those first 2 weeks, that's 5 degrees above normal, is what the EPS ensembles are indicating. And you can see how that kind of levels off into the low 70s as we head through the last half of March and into that first week of April. Betty says thumbs up. All right. And Betty, still look good for the parties tomorrow, or Saturday, I should say. Randall, I'm glad you said I just about got 1.5 inches. I'm south of you, midway between Benton and 220. So I'm glad that you were fortunate. I'm glad you got that rain. I was glad to get the rain too. As I mentioned that night or the day before, that we had my weather station had gone 3 weeks without detecting any lightning. So again, I was happy to see. I didn't mind the thunderstorms since they really weren't that strong in terms of the wind for most of us. All right, I think that's pretty much everything. So let's take a look at the forecast here as it is getting late. And you can see that tonight we're going to be looking at a partly cloudy sky. Will be cooler with lows in the 40s north, upper 40s, lower 50s further to the south. Tomorrow we will see a mostly cloudy sky. Again, a small chance for the afternoon shower. Probably no rain further to the north. And you can see the highs basically low to middle 60s. So we're going to be a good 10 to, actually, in Texarkana, 20 degrees cooler tomorrow than what it was today. Here's my 10-day forecast, which shows the 71 Saturday, mid-30s Monday and Tuesday mornings, 59 Monday, then quickly back up into the mid-70s. And notice no rain next week from Monday, actually Sunday, probably Saturday, through next Sunday. So we're going to be continuing a very dry period here as we head into that last Sunday, and the 10th day in this period is March 1st. So we're going to close February on a very dry note. All right, so that being said, let me get things ready to send you off with my little bit of humor. Two little kids were sitting on a park bench recently, and one of them says, "Which do you think is farther, the moon or Florida?" The other kid looks at him puzzled and said, "Hello, can you see Florida?" And with that, we'll officially do it for me tonight and do it for me for the week. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, don't forget to tune in tonight at 9 on Fox or at 10 on NBC6. Obviously, I won't be here. I will be at work, but I won't be doing this tomorrow night. But I'll be back Monday with another live update, hopefully with some better news on the rainfall front. All right, so until Monday, have a great Friday, have a great weekend, enjoy the sunshine and pleasant temperatures. We'll talk to you again on Monday. Good night.